Supposedly.
Mm-hmm. It's a Culture Smash cast, episode 631 for August the 16th, 2023. Is that right?
Yeah, it is.
I don't know.
I'm Stephen Lackey, editor of the Culture Smash cast. Nico?
Nicholas Qualls, contributor to Culture Smash Cast.
Tina?
Tina Qualls, contributor to Culture Smash Cast.
And Zach?
Hi, I'm Zach. I'm here. And there are times where I'm introducing myself, and all of a sudden I just hear Mike out of my mouth.
Perfect. All right, so we're a little bit discombobulated, and we're going to get into why in just a few minutes.
You did this to me.
I did do this to you. But we're going to get into it in a second. Before we get there, join us every Wednesday night live on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and other platforms coming soon, starting at around 6:15, sometimes 6:30 CST. Follow us on your favorite platform and join the conversation, because we do keep an eye on the chats and we'll interact with you during the show if you have especially if you disagree. I love the dissension. I love that. All right, so special thanks to Skinny Mixes for supporting the Culture Smash cast. Skinny Mixes are coffee and dessert syrups that are zero sugar, 0 calorie, and 0 to 2 carbs. Head on over to skinnymixes.com and try some of their delicious syrups, such as white chocolate, salted dark chocolate, salted caramel, and the variety of cocktail mixes they offer, including the margarita and different fruit-flavored water infusions. Use promo code CultureSmash for 15% discount. They're also having their pumpkin spice flavors.
Oh, hell yeah.
Nice.
So that's a thing. Hey, I mean, Spirit Halloween's open. It's, it's time.
Dude.
It's Halloween.
I really am starting to dig pumpkin spice in my coffee, because my boss got like the sugar infused pumpkin spice flavor.
Yeah.
Pump. I mean, he got a bunch of flavors, but man, we've been tearing up that pumpkin
Oh, so it's like
spice
a sugar syrup pump that's yeah. See, that changes the game. Like, that's you like that white chocolate pump that I get over here sometimes.
Yeah. It's like the vanilla one, no thanks. Hazelnut, not today. Pumpkin spice, baby.
Basic bitch time.
Don't care. It's delicious.
Don't care. Hey, delicious is delicious. It don't matter. All right, so before we get into our topic today of Oppenheimer, we are going to break down Oppenheimer, discuss it, review it. So if you haven't seen it, you may want to, drop a like and come back later, because we're going to spoil
It's been
everything.
out for like a month.
Yeah, it's time. It is time to look back and discuss it.
The only reason we haven't covered it is because, like, we don't want 2.5 hour long shows.
Yeah, we've got to do one movie at a time. And it's actually been working out okay for us so far. So last week was really funny, because Zach's like, oh, is it all we're going to do? Hour and 15 minutes
We're
later.
not going to talk about Talk to Me?
Yep. Which,
eventually.
Have you guys seen that yet?
Yes.
She has.
Okay. Nico, are you going to see it?
From Tina's reaction, I'm not in a rush.
Oh,
Fucking
interesting.
all right.
And we're
Okay.
talking about that soon.
Okay. See
I've
how
also
it is.
seen
The Meg.
2 and Last Voyage of Demeter and Haunted Mansion.
I've seen Turtles. That's pretty much the
Turtles.
only more recent movie I've seen.
So we might have to do like a round robin, some shorter discussions on some of these that we haven't all seen.
Yeah, because I'm not seeing Turtles.
I've seen Turtles. I've seen Demeter. I'm going to see Meg 2 this weekend. I'm going to see Strays this weekend.
Hard pass
Please
on
text
all
me
of
after
those.
you see the Meg 2, please. Text
Okay. All right. But we're doing Oppenheimer tonight. But as we start every week, we're going to start with, what have you guys been up to? And I have something to share.
Uh-oh.
God damn it.
I have something to share. So over on TikTok, I follow, you know how you like subreddits?
Yeah.
Well, TikTok is sorted the same way by hashtags. And I like to follow Horror Talk. I follow some different creators on Horror Talk. And they recommend movies and books and stuff. And the other day, I started having these recommendations pop up on my Horror Talk FYP for this book called The Playground. And everybody's losing their mind over it. So I bought it. It's a short book. It's not a long investment.
It's like 300 plus pages.
Yeah, it's not that long. It's not that bad. So I bought it and I stopped. Like I didn't I didn't listen to any more descriptions because I'm like, if it's this good, this edgy or whatever, I just want to soak it in. So I got the book, and yesterday I had an afternoon meeting cancel. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to take a walk downtown, and I'll just listen to this book, this audiobook, while I'm walking around. So imagine I'm in the heart of downtown, walking down Broadway,
And then that shit hits.
thousands of people around me having a good time. And starting at around page 40 of this book, some shit happens.
The book goes from like, it's got language in it, but nothing crazy
Yeah,
in terms of extreme.
Yeah.
It goes from, people swearing to like Zach stops and message you going like, because you recommended this shit.
Yeah,
to me.
the minute I saw how twisted and disgusting it was, I texted Zach. I'm like, bitch.
So I procured a copy, and I'm reading it. Can't find the audiobook, but I'm reading it, and I'm like, okay, so obviously we're setting up this.
Yeah.
And everything's pretty tame outside of the writing being
Not great.
not great.
Just so, yeah.
And then something happens. And I stop and I go, Steven, what the fuck is this?
And my response was, "Oh, you haven't got to the worst part. You haven't got to the nasty part yet. That's G-rated compared to
the
what's
nasty part. That shit was just nasty.
So I'm listening to it and I stopped.
Fuckers.
Like I'm walking down the sidewalk on Broadway with a crowd around me, and I stopped and I had to pause for a second. And I'm like, what the fuck is this book? What is this book?
It comes with a warning at the
It
beginning.
has a
of the
warning
book.
at the beginning about how disgusting it is.
I get the feeling I'm not going to find this on my library's audio.
No, it's not. It's not.
You
public
will
library.
not find this in your public library. This is
I'm
how
looking up Audible.
it's on
Yeah, it's-
Audible.
yeah, it
It's
is.
$13 on Audible or 1 credit. It's not expensive book. But
Oh,
here, like I was like disturbed. I'm like, what the fuck? Like I'm fucked up. And then I come home last night and I'm on a live stream and everybody's asking me about the book or whatever, and they wanted me finally to describe this particular sequence. And I told this to Zach, this is what happened to me is I described the sequence in every like nasty detail. And then we got off the live and I immediately remembered, oh shit, I've got to scoop the litter box. And when I started scooping the litter box, I was like, oh! I almost threw
Let's
up.
just say
I almost threw up in the litter box.
Well, that's the
the
place
scene
to
in
do it.
question involves poo poo.
It involves everything.
Well,
Like the entire chapter, when you read this
Jesus
starting at
Christ.
chapter 40, it involves it. So
it goes like 0 to 10.
I'm telling you right now, it is nasty. If you read this is on you. Like someone asked me about it.
We're just our fucks.
Yeah,
so
someone
we're
asked
like,
me on the
sorry.
chat, they're like, so you're recommending it? I'm like, fuck no, I'm not recommending it. I'm telling you about it. If you choose to read it, that's on you. I am
Tina
not.
just bought it.
I use one
Oh
of my
my
credits.
God, Tina, you'll know when you get there, and you're gonna need to take a break, and then you need to text me, and I'm gonna be like, I told you.
So have
I
you
mean-
guys finished it or?
No.
I'm ahead of Zach. I'm about 3/4 of the way through it, and
Oh, wow. Okay.
here's the thing about it is it's a very pulpy type of book.
I just started reading it around noon.
Yeah.
So
I don't think it's that well written.
yeah, this is like 50 Shades of Grey, to where you're like, this isn't
But-
really well written. But like,
when you make it to
what's
that
gonna
part,
happen next?
once you make it to that part, it starts at around page 40. Once you make it to that part, you're going to be like, I don't care how badly and terribly written it might be. I got to know because this is nasty.
Yeah, I don't mind
Where's
spending
this
an Audible credit on it because if I choose not to keep it, if I choose like, hey, I don't like this book at all, I can always return it and get my credit back. So
Yeah.
I didn't know you could do that.
It was an experience.
I mean, like, look, the book is setting up that there's going to be, I mean, it's on the warning page, that there's going to be violence against children.
Yeah, that's something that's in there, but so far as I've been able to see, it's
And that's not a spoiler, too, because you look at the front fucking cover of the
and
book.
there's blood running down a slide.
Yeah, and a girl about to slide down the slide, and there's buzzsaws in the slide.
But
I
that
haven't gotten
stuff,
to that, but
that stuff is not even the bad part. It's what comes before it that's
that's the disgusting part. So we're past the disgusting part now.
well, I mean,
That's disgusting. We're going into disturbing.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, kind of. It's like, what is wrong with this guy, this writer? What is what is wrong with you?
Yeah, it's people are doing things, and I didn't need that information, sir.
It
I didn't need that.
I just since you bought it, I'm just gonna wait now till you read it. Like literally, I was reading it and my head started sweating. I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck's happening? And it wasn't because I was outside, because it was a beautiful day.
I mean, if I'm being real, the thing that happened to me is not as twisted as something like American Psycho.
Well, and I still argue that part of American Psycho is it's written better than this book.
But American Psycho, like, it keeps going and going and going and going. This felt like, okay, we're going to go to A, which will lead into B, which will then lead into C.
Well, I think we should stop here, especially since Tina has volunteered as tribute.
Yeah.
To read this book. And anyone who listens to this later, I did not fucking recommend this book.
I recommend it. I'm twisted. It's stupid.
If you read this book, it is on you. But if you do read it, then let me know, because I want to talk about it. Because holy shit.
I recommend it if you're looking for something to wake you up in the morning. Start you off
on the day. Don't read it before you eat.
Yeah.
Actually, don't read it after you've ate on a full stomach. Don't do that.
Hey, if your girl's giving you winks, don't read it either.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. Other than like Tina, like you were talking about, seeing a lot of movies. I've been seeing a lot of stuff, and it sounds like you guys have too, which is great because
I have. Nico's not as much, but yeah.
Because we'll talk about it in a second, but we've got a little bit of a strike update. Nico, I'm gonna just reference. I didn't put the story in here, but we'll just kind of reference it. Talk about it for a second. But before we get there, let's talk about our film ball. Now, I did have someone asking me about it, so I'm going to try, if you guys help me remember, to start kind of giving the basic what film ball is before we do the updates. Because someone did just email me and ask me about it. So basically, our film ball game is this. We take a 4-month block of time. We take all of the wide release movies hitting theaters in that block of time. We each have 100 virtual bucks, and we bid for the movies we think are going to make the highest box office in the first 4 weeks of release. And we take those dollar totals and add them up, and then we smack talk each other about who has the highest total box office. We have a trophy that we send around to the winners, and that is our game. And if you want to play, let me know. We can always do a side game. We have a TikTok side game already, and that actually may be your best bet. If you want to play with us, we may do a second tier TikTok game. So let me know. And
damn, what would be the limit? 5 games?
That would have to be the limit. It's a lot.
Dear God.
Yeah, I actually think 3 games is probably the limit.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot. I'm thankful that Tina is able to automate so much of this with the spreadsheets, but still. Yeah. All right, so Tina, you got an update for us over there, I see.
I do. In 5th place with 170,000 in me. Listen, I had no hopes going into this game.
I did.
Wow.
Yeah, and look where it landed you, Mr. 410.8 thousand.
The sad thing is, we can't even combine our totals to be 3rd place.
Oh yeah, 410 million. Sorry, 170 million for me. 410 million for you. Zach, you were in 3rd place with 700.7 million.
Damn it.
You were literally 2.4 million away from 2nd place, currently being held by Steven with 703 million. Steven,
shit.
You only have I think 1 more week of Oppenheimer left before you're out of the game.
Yep.
So we'll see. And Nathan's in 1st place with $916.1 million.
He's probably safe.
I think
now, that being said, like I said, Stephen, you have 1 week left of Oppenheimer. Zach, you still have Blue Beetle and the Last Voyage of the Demeter.
Oh, sweet.
So you're still getting
Zach's going to come back, baby. Blue Beetle.
You're still getting like some money from Talk to Me, but it only made like 10K last week. So you're not getting much from that one.
10K?
Yeah.
It's
Nathan still has 1 more week of Barbie.
She probably meant 10 million.
was about to say it's made 31 million.
And the Meg 2.
Yeah, I think Nathan is safe.
Yeah, I feel like he's safe too, but we'll see.
I'm coming for that bitch ass.
I think
Blue
that's
Beetle.
safe.
You're gonna see Blue Beetle.
Well, I think I safely
would
have
had a little bit more of a game had two of his movies not been pushed, which were Whitebird, which has no release date anymore, and Harold and the Purple Crayon, which has been moved to 2024.
I got Strays though. Strays. That's gonna.
You do have Strays.
That's gonna be a $300 million movie.
You do
For
still
sure.
have Strays.
opening this weekend.
Dude, imagine Strays makes 300.
How funny
Oppenheimer
would that
blown out of the water.
How funny would it be that Strays made 300 million and he couldn't barely get to that with Indiana Jones?
And for our TikTok game, in fifth place is Dustin with 229.9 million. Steven, you're in fourth place with 428.5 million. Andrew's in third place with 556 million. In second place is Jason with 751.5 million. And Chris is in first place with 935.1 million.
That damn Barbie movie.
Both Chris and Nathan are going to break the $1 billion game.
Oh
Yeah,
my
that's
God.
a much more even spread than our game.
It is.
That-
It is. For
That
this
damn
game,
Barbie.
Jason still has some money from the Meg 2 coming in, and Gran Turismo yet to be released. Steven,
Which is weird because you went and saw it.
It was a limited release last weekend.
Oh,
I only had 2 screenings. Yeah.
Steven, you were, again, 1 week of Oppenheimer. You would have had another movie with Harold and the Purple Crayon, but again, put to 2024.
Fuck.
Andrew is getting money from The Last Demeter still. His Whitebird money will not be coming in. Chris still has 1 more week of Barbie, but then he's done. And then Dustin still has Strays and Blue Beetle. He would have also had They Listen, but They Listen also got pushed back. So.
Damn it. That's fine. Can't win them all. Shit. All right. So we do need to think about the next game.
Yep.
Oh,
Scheduling that. Yeah. So that would be at the end of this month.
And we got something that might make some of the bidding go easier.
A
Yeah.
gavel.
A gavel. Oh God. A gavel. I love it.
That's you.
Bless you. Shit. All right, so we'll schedule that off camera, but that'll be a live stream. Everybody should watch that. It'll be stupid. It's great. It's really fun. Okay, so before we dig into Oppenheimer, there was one update that just happened this past weekend. Nico, I think you did share in our group a story about this. Basically, the story is this: SAG had originally been authorizing a lot of independent movies to go ahead and shoot, to go ahead and be in production. But they've pulled some of that back now because they're trying to stand more in solidarity with the WGA, and those scripts were written by members of the WGA. So now they're trying to kind of roll back what they said as far as who could continue production based off the scripts now, which I think is great. I mean, it really doesn't take us anywhere further except to say that SAG and the WGA are trying to be more on the same team.
A more united.
That was
front. Yeah.
They're not rescinding any of the currently anything they had authorized, but they are not authorizing any new projects going forward.
Yeah. If the project was written by someone who's a WGA member, then that project can't go forward, basically. What's crazy, if you're watching the picket lines, is you've got the WGA and SAG all striking together, but the union for the airline workers came out on their picket line and walked the picket line with them in California because they're about to strike if something doesn't happen. Yeah. So I think that's crazy. Like, if you're in California right now, you're seeing SAG, WGA, airline workers, Teamsters are walking in solidarity. They're not striking, but they're walking in solidarity. You don't know who's going to be next on that picket line. It's fascinating.
The LA Hotel Union was striking. I don't know if they finished, but they were striking earlier this summer.
Yeah, because there's a big push right now because they didn't want Taylor Swift to come to California because she was going to bring a shit ton of business to the hotels, and they were trying to convince her to not come in solidarity with them.
Well,
I don't know.
It was that, and also the fact that the hotel industry in California is so severely understaffed right now
And underpaid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say one of the best videos I've seen regarding the picket lines was like the whole Parks and Rec crew coming out, and Aubrey Plaza brought a mini pony and dressed it up like little Sebastian.
Aubrey Plaza is hilarious.
I love her so much.
She just gets more attractive with everything she does. Because she's cute. She's got a funny way about her.
Is she still
really
acting
love
like
her in
she's
White
pissed at
Lotus.
everybody?
She's what?
She's pissed at everybody.
Probably.
So
Yeah,
she's still doing the same thing from 2009.
Probably.
Steven relates to that.
I do relate to that.
I mean, hey,
I live that.
I understand it. As I get older, I'm like,
I mean, now Jenna Ortega is trying to do it too. Is Aubrey Plaza does it better?
Like I said, if you haven't watched her in
White Lotus.
season 2 of White Lotus, yeah, I really liked her in that.
Okay, cool. I need to go back to that. I think I don't know. It got a little bit soap opera-y for me, and I just kind of tipped out. But I should probably go back and look at it because everybody loves it. Nathan has been after me to try to start Yellow Jackets. He would be here tonight, but he hasn't seen Oppenheimer yet.
why not?
Well, he's probably not moving around to theaters too much right now.
He has been late. Oh, he did go see Barbie for a second time.
Okay, I take that back.
Never mind.
Yeah. I'm like, you guys
already telling me it's going to be his number one movie for the year and probably number one movie of all movies. Literally, he said that to me yesterday.
I could see that with him, though.
Yeah.
You know, him not being able to recognize some giant gaping plot holes and bad writing. I can see that with him, especially with like Black Hat being set up previously.
Yeah. Well, he finally admitted he only liked Black Hat because of Chris Hemsworth tight shirts. He admitted it.
And Ryan Gosling shirtless for 3/4 of this film have nothing to do with that.
We'll see. We'll find out. Our top 10s are going to be great this year. It's going to be a great discussion, as always.
It's going to be interesting. That'll be
yeah.
sure.
It's funny because, let me see, do I even have a top 10 at this point?
I am not comfortable starting to choose a top 10 for this year yet.
Well, I always start in June. Like, okay, we've had 6 months. Let's put together a list of what I've liked so far.
Yeah.
Then you add to it. Yeah, I have 7 films right now. I don't even have a top 10. Of course, I know what your number 1 is.
What is my number 1?
Past Lives.
Maybe. It's early.
Well, right now.
Right now?
Right now.
As we speak?
Yeah.
Yes, Past Lives is my number 1.
Yeah.
As of now.
Nothing else has come close.
Nothing else has come close, yeah. But
we still got 4 more months. That's fine.
Well, and I gotta soak on it a little bit too. I need second viewings of some things and whatever.
Oh
you know?
Yeah.
All right.
Indy might pop up on the list.
Yeah, who knows?
Exactly. It might.
What is it?
Indy might pop up on the list.
What, Indiana Jones?
Yeah. You never know.
Bitch, I was sitting next to you and we were both like, gah.
Maybe my mind will change. You never know.
I would slap the shit.
So I know everyone's talking about how much money Barbie is making, and I think it is epic. But in a weird way, I think Oppenheimer's success is more surprising and groundbreaking because Barbie coming in is a very well-known and loved IP.
Barbie is Warner Brothers' highest grossing film.
What you didn't have a Oppenheimer doll when you were a kid, Steven?
No, damn it. I wanted one, but they were too expensive.
No, but I really liked the Oppenheimer candy that they had.
I mean, but I have to agree with you. Oppenheimer's success is more impressive to me because it's a 3-hour R-rated biopic.
Yeah, that's my point.
I think there are levels of impressiveness because of all the things you said. It's a 3-hour biopic. It's not a hugely, it's not a hugely known IP like Barbie, a pre-established IP, as much as a person can be a pre-established IP. But on top of that it's making this money in addition to Barbie also making its money. So we have these two powerhouses in the theaters right now. They're just holding 1 and 2 for multiple weeks, still making a lot of money.
And we haven't even compared, and we've talked about the IP and the biopic and that comparison, but their leads, arguably, Margot Robbie is a bigger draw than Cillian Murphy.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And thanks to Tina in the pre-show for telling me how to say that, because I would have said it wrong. Now, Oppenheimer does have a really incredible cast,
Yeah.
but this is a Nolan film. And
I think Nolan's the biggest name on the
Yeah,
I think so, too.
Nolan is the
Well,
star of the movie.
My point is, at least from my perspective, is Nolan lots of times will take big names, and the way he utilizes them in his movies, they kind of disappear. Like, for me, this might be one of Robert Downey Jr.'s best roles of his life. But
I think
if you told me you didn't realize it was him, I'd be like,
I get that.
all right. Yeah.
Yeah, I would totally agree. I think it probably is one of he is definitely at the top of my list for like best supporting actor right now in the Oscars.
So I want to hear from you guys, because I've been talking with this dumbass over here about it for weeks. So let me hear what you guys thought of Oppenheimer and what your impressions are.
How'd you see it?
We just went to our local
local AMC regular digital screening. We did not get to see a 70mm.
It didn't have IMAX, so it was a very
normal average screening, just in terms of you go to the theater, watch a movie.
Yeah.
But it was still a very impressive, even on a regular theater screen, a visually impressive film to behold.
Yeah. I remember there was one point, I'm always hesitant when I know that there's going to be some silent parts during the movie of like, oh God, I'm going to hear people talking. I'm going to hear people coughing or what have you, people opening up snacks. And then there's one point in this movie that has a very silent part, and everybody knows what part I'm talking about right now.
Yeah.
And no one spoke. No one even breathed. It was like almost like they were part of the movie, like in that cast, just waiting with bated breath. So I was very thankful that I had a really good audience to watch it with.
Actually, I do have a question. As you guys both saw it in IMAX, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'd seen people complain about some of the audio being difficult to hear, some of the dialogue being difficult to hear. And I don't know if that's like an IMAX specific thing, because I didn't have a problem hearing any of the audio in my screening.
So, to me, this is a Nolan film. And Nolan I was reading something about this. He likes to use the live performance.
Yeah, he doesn't do a lot of ADR.
Yeah. And so his audio is always just down in the mix. And it was down in the mix in this one, too. I didn't have any trouble understanding anything, but it was definitely soft in the mix. But I've just I accept that's how it's going to be.
For me, it wasn't soft. It was like they're in halls and echoes of, English accents and doing all this, and there's a lot of echoes. So it's naturalistic. That first viewing, I never lost anything, but I definitely had to work for it.
Yeah.
Second viewing, I had no issues.
Yeah. Well, you weren't having to work for it because you knew it was coming.
Yeah.
It made it easier. But I think this is just a thing with Nolan films, because he's the way he is.
I had no issues in Tenet. I had no issues in Interstellar. I had no issues.
Tenet had some.
It had one moment
early in the movie.
No, it was the parasailing scene where they're like going off of audio from headsets.
Oh.
And it was like,
yep,
this is getting lost.
I think in the early part of the movie too, like during the raid sequence, there was some stuff that was kind of hard to hear because they had helmets on and like stuff in there. Yeah, I did.
I never did.
But yeah, if people complain about that, I'm like, okay, I get it, because he just doesn't. And part of it, I think, is people are just accustomed to a forward mixed dialogue.
Yes,
because every movie that comes out has a forward mixed dialogue except his.
Okay, pop quiz. How does Nolan mix his films?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, what's the configuration?
I don't know.
Really?
Don't know.
No.
You have a box set and you don't know?
Oh, you're talking about like for like home theater? Or you're I thought you were looking for like tools. I mean, his stuff is 5.1.
It's 5.0 in IMAX.
Well, okay.
because the front speakers have the subs.
Yeah.
And he uses those.
Well, and that's the other part
And you
of it
could
too.
feel him in this movie.
You could feel him. He mixes. He produces his image and mixes his all that stuff, sound, everything for IMAX. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Especially,
did you guys have trouble hearing stuff?
No,
No, not really.
That's what I was curious about because I had seen the criticism and I heard fine.
which is interesting. It's the same. I mean, it's the same file.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I guess it's just the speaker configuration.
It's got to be. It's got to be.
I mean, because it literally is like given. It's not on the film. It's given as a DVD, and they import the DVD and sync it up.
Well, not a DVD, but
Yeah, it is.
on a DVD disc.
Yeah, it's a digital file,
Oh,
DVD disc.
Yeah. All right.
You know, because these files are like it's completely compressed, and it's like 8-9 gigs.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay, so go on with what you guys thought of the film.
I generally liked it. Knowing as much as I do about Los Alamos and the Manhattan Project and that part of history, just because I was a weird kid in middle and high school.
You're kidding.
There are certain things that they glossed over that I was kind of disappointed that didn't make it into the movie. I can see why, because it definitely would have added more controversy. It would have added more time that a 3-hour movie doesn't fucking need. It would have no real impact on the story of Oppenheimer. So I get it. But all in all, I enjoyed it. There were definitely some bright moments as far as like acting wise.
Yeah, there's a bulb that went off. That was very
bright. Yeah, huge. But I love a lot of the focus on the trial, or not the trial, the hearing
inquiry
that Oppenheimer went through as opposed to Strauss's congressional hearing. I like that they had that back and forth.
I like the similarities of the trial too. Like in both cases, you had like the senators and Strausses, and then the judges at his security clearance and Oppenheimer's security clearance. They multiple times going, "This is not a trial. This is not a trial," and like underscore it's like, oh, they're basically going through the same process.
Yeah.
Even though different what they're trying to get out of it, but it's more of like, yeah, Strauss, you're getting what's coming to you.
I mean, it's not, they're just saying no.
Yeah.
You're not guilty. They're just saying no.
And it was the same thing with Strauss. It's like he's not found guilty of something. They just said no, you can't be Secretary of Commerce, I think is what he was going for. I liked it. I thought it was good. I do think it could have been a little bit shorter. I don't think it had to be 3 hours. There were little snippets, I think, that could have been done. It wouldn't have been shaped much, like in the 250s. I think it could have been slightly shorter. But overall, I really loved how expertly Nolan used this ensemble cast. There are so many people on camera and so many recognizable people at times. The main, I guess we're talking about the Strauss Senate confirmation hearing, and the Rami Malek is the guy who torpedoes it, and he's been in the movie
everything's saved by Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, 3.
I was say fucking Rami Malek shows up for 30 seconds in this movie.
He did 3 other prior scenes with no lines whatsoever for seconds at a time, and then he shows here. It's like, I'm a big deal right now. I'm gonna screw this up for you.
And I will say the makeup that they did for aging, showing the age progression, was really phenomenal.
Good. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that there's no CGI de-aging. There's none of that. It's all practical work. Both.
Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah,
Cillian Murphy's whole aging process too, because he is Oppenheimer for decades in the movie. But you also see that on several of the other characters in the movie as well, including Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. is aging. He looks old. And look at some of the older Strauss Fitz scenes of him. compared to what his father looks like.
And Emily Blunt as Kitty Oppenheimer, like that scene at the end where she and Robert Oppenheimer are like what in their 80s.
They didn't know
Like
they weren't
70s
that
or
old,
80s.
but it was but basically it was like the late 60s. It was LBJ giving him an
Yeah.
award.
And you could just see the wrinkles along her lips. That's always what gets me, is a lot of times they'll either do really exaggerated wrinkles around the lips, or they'll just forget it altogether. But no, the makeup altogether, the makeup was phenomenal. I loved it.
Zachy boy?
Well, I've seen this film twice now, both on 70mm IMAX. And first viewing, I mean, okay, let's be real. This movie's a lot to go through. I mean, it's 180 minutes and it's blisteringly fast. Nika was saying, oh, this could be trimmed down. And I'm like, it already feels like, what really it feels like to me, and I have zero proof of this other than just a gut feeling, is Nolan created a 3 hour and 15-minute film.
Mm-hmm.
And he went to IMAX and said, hi, IMAX, my film is 195 minutes. What can you do for me? Because your platters can only hold 165 minutes. And they went, all right, we'll 3D print some expanding bars to put as many minutes as we can. 3 hours is our limit.
Yeah, some of that is actually true, because that's a known thing, because I saw a video with some people from IMAX and they literally said, if you go any more than this, it's not even about the platters. The arm that holds it is going to break.
Yeah.
And there's nothing we can do. So he was limited to 3 hours.
And that's why
at that point you basically have to build in an intermission, right? So they could swap out.
Yeah. Which would have been great. Honestly.
Yeah.
Would have been great.
I feel like this movie is missing breathing. It's so fast and there's no scenes of just quiet. There's constant music and it's going and going and going and going. There's no breathing at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, those scenes got fucking cut.
Mm-hmm.
I have no proof of that.
Well, because Nolan is pretty good about having those swells of breath.
Well,
in his movies.
Example in The Dark Knight when Rachel dies, and it's that quiet moment where we're just kind of mourning with Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
Or in Interstellar, where we have the passage of time and seeing his daughter grow up in front of his eyes, and he missed out on all of it. Those quiet little moments.
The only quiet breath we get is during the bomb.
Yes, but that's,
I think that's
holding our breath for 8 minutes previously to it.
What did you say, Nico?
I think that's intentional, because I think it's supposed to simulate, one, the inner lack of peace that Oppenheimer has. Like, we're introduced to the character in the beginning of the movie, and his mind is shown to us to be frantic and just crazy. It's not that he is crazy, but more so that he is having trouble processing what he sees as the actual theoretical physics that are going on in the universe. And he is having anxiety attacks as a university student. So I think that sort of frantic pace is supposed to kind of simulate what he's going through, but also the frantic pace that they just have to go through in World War II as they are rushing to get the bomb done. And all this stuff.
and it's known in there. He's counting ahead of everybody. I mean, at one point with Matt Damon's character, he's like, we got 2 years or something, and he's like 18 months.
Well,
and Damon's like, how do you know this? And he's like, I just do. He just knows, because he's the one who's counting it for real,
which is fine. But the bomb goes off at the 2 hour mark.
Yeah,
there's still another 60 minutes.
So that gets to the thing for me, is this movie delivered everything that I expected expertly in the first 2 hours. Had it ended with the bomb, I would have been all right. But that last hour was incredible.
Yeah.
I didn't see it coming. I didn't know the story of Oppenheimer, so all of this was fresh for me, other than what the basics. I need the basics. So I was riveted that last hour. That last hour is probably my favorite part of the movie, honestly, because I was like I was sitting forward in my IMAX seat, and you don't want to do that in the IMAX.
Yeah, you want to lean back.
Yeah.
And like I was saying, this movie's a lot to take in. It's wall to wall dialogue almost.
Mm-hmm.
So coming out of our first viewing, I was just like, holy shit, I got just a lot to process. That second viewing I went to, man, everything clicked. And it was like, damn, this is impressive. Is it Nolan's best film? No.
Oh, I don't know. That's really hard to say because
I wouldn't even say it's his second best film. Probably his third best.
Well, but all of his films are so precise and so like peak in everything he does. What's his best becomes what you like more.
I mean, to me,
what you gravitate to more.
I think that's
I think Dunkirk.
I liked it because I was thinking because Dunkirk was the last one. Like I can't, or no, not the last one. Tenet was, but I was thinking like Tenet was fun. Like this Oppenheimer's not fun. It is a good movie, but it's not fun. Dunkirk, while not, at least is a little bit more easy to kind of celebrate and kind of bask in the achievement of Dunkirk.
When you're celebrating Dunkirk, you're not celebrating the massive genocide of 2 major cities.
Yeah, it's hard to. Oppenheimer is the protagonist, but it is kind of hard. You cheer because I think, especially coming out of the last 3 years, we saw a set of us want to cheer science.
Yeah, exactly.
When I say Dunkirk is frankly better, is because there's so much visual storytelling in that film that just uses the cinematic language of film and then only goes into dialogue when it needs it. Everything else is just told visually, especially on an IMAX screen. It's insane. And
I feel you go, Tina.
Oh, no, mine's just a funny quip.
Oh, go do your quip so I can.
Well, Dunkirk doesn't have a naked Florence Pugh writing.
That's true.
That is true.
I have to rewrite all the movies based on that. It is now Oppenheimer is the best.
Suddenly, Oppenheimer becomes his best movie.
Unfortunately,
that's surprising. I feel like Oppenheimer is his most finely tuned. Like it is the one that has so many. All of his movies are so intricate, but this one has so many parts with competing timelines and just the huge ensemble cast of recognizable people doing a lot of stuff all throughout the time of the movie, and just the cutting between the different timelines
and not even the timelines, but you also have competing stories within the timelines. Like in World War II era, you have the bomb, but then you also have the Communist Party, the communist agenda going on against it. And it's keeping track of all of that doesn't, like, it sounds like it's a lot to keep track of, but as you're watching the movie, it's not that hard. It flows very well.
So I think
to be fair,
it's just a point of taste, or a point of what do you enjoy more in terms of which one's your favorite.
That was my point. Yeah.
To be fair, that first 20 minutes, when you're just thrown in and you're trying to keep track of when is this and how is this going on, it's you're just like, oh God.
I don't know. I didn't feel.
To me, I felt that the first time. I was just like, oh God.
Usually I feel that. I didn't really feel it with this one. And to answer to what you were saying, you're like, the visual storytelling is different, blah, blah, blah. That might be true, but that's only one piece of the puzzle. Dunkirk is easy to choose because it's almost like an anthem. Like Tina was saying, you're not celebrating
it's not
people's
my
deaths,
number one.
You're celebrating the people that survived. Yeah. So that makes it easy, and to what Nico was saying, some of us are really wanting to celebrate science, but it's really hard to celebrate science in this one. But at the same time, there's the whole idea of Oppenheimer to begin with is there's a sense of it being inevitable and who's going to do it first. No one fucking wants the bomb created, but someone's going to do it. Who's going to do it first?
It is a really fascinating morality story because it's like, it's one, we knew Germany was working on it. We didn't know at the time that they were not anywhere close to like the level that Oppenheimer is, which they find out in the movie. But somebody, Russia was going to find it out too eventually. It was real world physics. Like it was going to be discovered one way or the other.
And we as the audience, just because we have history notes to look back on, we knew it wasn't going to end with how Oppenheimer wanted it to end. We're making this bomb so that people will look at it in terror and be like, "What? We cannot fight any more wars because this thing exists." We knew that wasn't going to happen, and he didn't realize that until the very second that the bomb dropped.
Well, I don't think he didn't realize it until it left. I think like the bomb dropped. I don't think
on Nagasaki and.
Okay. I thought it was
I got you. No, like when they actually utilized it.
Yeah, I was thinking like when it's leaving the Los Alamos, and it's like, I don't have a say in this bomb anymore. Like logically, he knew that was a thing, but it starts to hit in. It's like, we did build a weapon for another party, they being the United States government, and now they get to choose how to use it. By the way, I love Gary Oldman as Truman. That was the one thing I went to this movie is like when I realized it was building up to that scene. It's like he's gonna walk in and meet Truman. Like it's a name. It's got to be a name. I know he's gonna put somebody in Truman, and it's like, of course it's Gary fucking Oldman as Truman.
And Gary Oldman comes in.
And it's like, what? But he was so good. And I loved it. It was like, you didn't drop it. I did. I made that call. This is my decision. Stop being a pansy. And it's like, oh my God.
Get that car, baby.
So that's one of the little subtle, more subtle things, because I see people not understanding it. Is Oppenheimer is so focused on the science, he forgets to focus on the people a little bit.
Yeah.
Like science, the common logic would be we could make this bomb and it ends all bombs, but that's not how people work, and he didn't focus on that enough.
And then even as they're building the A bomb, you have would you stop wiggling?
The other guy is like building the bigger bomb.
The H bomb. Like he's wanting to start work on the H bomb, which is 10 times more deadly. And it's like it's that. Well, the A bomb should be the bomb to end all bombs. So yeah, he's like, let's meet once a week to discuss what you find. But I don't think he was ever going to take it too terribly serious until they actually started working on it.
I also find, because there's a lot that I don't know about the era too. Like we, at this point, almost a century removed. So we're 80 years past this point, almost. And it's like, They don't ever have a conversation about using nuclear power for power's sake. It's all bomb, and which it's fascinating because that's the immediate thing when they realize it's possible is they jumped a bomb, not nuclear power plants or anything like that. And then the fortunate thing is Oppenheimer's almost right. Like we as a society, both us and the Soviet Union and other nations, continue to build thousands of nuclear and higher level bombs, but we haven't used them in a military function outside of testing yet. So maybe we might get lucky and he ends up being right. We're not there yet. But maybe.
And I love when they do have the celebration at Los Alamos, how when he's giving his speech and he's walking away, he's having this PTSD flashback, panic attack, and you just see people's faces melting off.
That was such a good scene.
Oh man, that gave me chills.
Yeah, that was one of those IMAX sequences that was like built for it.
Yeah.
I mean, that scream that rent out, who knows where it came from? It just happens. It's like, it's chilling.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting too, because I see some people accusing Nolan of being pro Oppenheimer, and I think a lot of that is coming because of The Last Hour, because it shows kind of how Oppenheimer's.
I mean, he was screwed over.
It was screwed over, yeah. And you know, like what happens a lot of times, he's used as a scapegoat. But just because you're showing that this happened, I don't feel it shows. I don't feel it's like a pro Oppenheimer thing, because you show how he got screwed over post doing what he was told to do, what he was asked to do.
It shows very much that Oppenheimer's indecision in a lot of this did lead to where his naivety screwed him over.
Yes.
Like he kept thinking, it's like, yeah, we have to build it because somebody has to. it might as well be us because I know what the Germans are doing, and we need to, beat them to it. And then even after they got to a point where Germany's not gonna make it, and then Germany is defeated, it's like, well, we gotta finish it because we still got Japan. It's like, and he was always at a point where it's like he couldn't find a reason within himself to stop what he was doing. Mm-hmm. And he had this constant indecision of, I know this is bad, but surely when everybody, like we talked about earlier, when everybody sees what happens, they're going to decide, we'll never do it again. And that isn't quite true yet. Like, again, we did it twice, which I loved the justification. Let me clarify my wording. I don't love that it happened at all. It's terrible that it happened. I think the movie did a really good job of framing the callousness of the military-industrial complex and the mindset of, like, we have to do it twice. We have to do it once to show that we can, and twice so that we can keep doing it as many times.
One, to show that it's real. Two, to show that we will use it. We can,
yeah. And it's like that makes a kind of logical sense from that military-industrial complex point of view. And
just almost the blasé-ness of how they're selecting what cities to bomb.
Yeah, the Secretary of War.
We'll take Kyoto off the list because on honeymoon there, it's pretty significant culturally.
That's
and it's
what
like,
happened. It's true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The thing that I actually appreciated that I don't remember ever getting in my history class. Now, I have a problem with anyone complaining about how historically accurate a Hollywood movie is. First of all, fuck you. It's a Hollywood movie. If you want accuracy, read a book. But this
like American Prometheus.
Yeah, but it does reference the fact that we didn't have to do it at all.
Yeah.
And that's something that I don't remember ever being talked about when I was in school. No. It was like, this is what we did. We had to do it, blah, blah, blah.
No, yeah, like the justification was like the war could keep going on for like years and loss of so many American lives because we're having to do an invasion of Japan. And that's the argument that we get in history is that like, it was the way to end it quickly and to keep Americans safe. Like, yeah, well, it didn't keep Japanese people safe. It was used at civilian locations. Like,
it wasn't military locations. It wasn't, branches of the government or anything like that. It's not like we used it on an Al-Qaeda, base. It was, here's this city that has women and children and elderly and disabled people and pets and parks and all this stuff.
But it also does a good job of showing that there are people that have just completely bought into this is necessary. Like Matt Damon's character, I really feel an earnestness of like, this is important. Like we have to stop this war, save lives. Like it feels like an earnest mentality at that aspect, at least. Man, I'm just thinking back to so many good characters in this. Like you have what's him? Casey Affleck as the other general that's like the communist hunter.
Yeah.
Matt Damon's like, you talk to that guy? Fuck.
Which is fascinating to see that scene twice, because the first time it's not really threatening. The second time it's like, uh-oh. Oh boy.
Nico didn't realize that the other professor at Berkeley
was Josh Hartnett.
Until I said something about like, Josh Hartnett's really come a long way from Pearl Harbor.
I wouldn't have known it. I don't think I would have known it if I hadn't looked at the cast list beforehand.
Oh, trust me, my teenage heartthrob 90s baby knew it.
Oh, of course you did.
I was just kind of glad to see him start to get stuff again.
Yeah.
Nolan just casted this movie so incredibly well.
Yeah, it was very well cast.
But to the point we were actually talking about, though, is I don't know, like, don't trust a Hollywood movie. But if this raises enough of a question that you're curious and makes you go look it up, that's awesome. And it does. It's like, well, what would have been the parameters of not dropping those bombs, and could we have just done it and ended the war another way? What is that? How does that work? Because it was never given that to me before. So I took that away from this movie, and I'm curious. So, will I read a book? Probably not. Would I watch a documentary? Yes.
Yeah.
100%. 100% I will.
You know who's an actor in this that is kind of getting glossed over, except for those who in the know?
Hmm.
Fucking Benny Safdie is in this movie.
Oh, that's. I need to look at his face. I'm trying to remember who he played.
Teller?
Teller, yeah.
Oh,
The guy who's building the H-bomb, who wanted to
yeah.
dive into the H-bomb, yeah.
Well, what do you got to say about it?
It's the director, one of the directors of Uncut Gems.
No, I know. It was one of the Safdie brothers. Yeah.
Fucking good performance.
Every single person in here is good.
I was
That's
about to
the
say,
thing.
if I had to point to someone and go, that's the weakest performance in this film.
Yeah.
And it might not be the performance as it is the character. Florence Pugh.
I thought
I
it was
don't
going to
know.
be great.
I thought Florence Pugh was great.
I'm not saying she's bad. I'm saying, I mean,
I have a question for you. Did you guys take her death as suicide or contracted murder?
so it's taken both ways.
Yeah.
And you're seeing both things play out
Mm-hmm.
simultaneously. The fact that the letter was unsigned
Yeah.
Unsigned, yeah.
is problematic.
It is problematic. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and it's supposed to highlight because there is uncertainty. Like it's not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's definitely like theories that it was, and the movie does a really good job of like cutting the drowning bit, and then one shot has like a black glove pushing her head down. It's like it could have been murder. It could have been the U.S. government making sure she stays dead. So anything that Oppenheimer told her doesn't get out and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
But to be fair, bitch was crazy.
Yeah. Well, and I actually liked her character. If I had to cut, I would probably look at that character. But I liked her character in the movie because it represented a side of his brain that he needed. Like, it was a release. Like, the fact of the two of them just sitting there chilling, having a conversation, completely butt-ass naked, both of them.
That's
And not
normal.
even like spooning.
But
or
it's
anything.
different. It's
Different
different for
characters
him.
talking.
Yeah.
It's not in, like, everything is like I was saying, he's not a people person. He's not about people. He's about science. But he had this like unpredictable. He couldn't like write a formula to predict what the fuck she was going to do next because she was crazy. That was a side of him that kind of I think that character represented, and I liked her for that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No fucking flowers.
no fucking flowers. Yeah. Well, and yeah. There was not a lot of levity in this movie, so you had to take it when you could get it.
Well, yeah, because this movie has, I mean, it's like going to a funeral almost.
Yeah.
I really love because like I'm on the Wikipedia page right now. I'm looking at the cast list, but the impressive thing is both the names of the people on the cast list, but then as the actual people they're playing. And Christopher Nolan didn't do like. Oftentimes in these kind of big, weighty historical bits, you'll have like a composite character to just kind of consolidate casting.
Yeah, like in Chernobyl,
Chernobyl
how
had
the female scientists represented the like dozens of scientists that were brought in.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And we don't have that in this movie. We like everyone here is playing a real person with like a very expansive Wikipedia page on their own. Like these are ridiculously like renowned individuals.
Yeah. You can't really, especially for something as world defining as the Manhattan Project in Los Alamos, you can't really cut anybody. You can't really condense people like that and still have it be true to their contributions. Because everybody contributed something completely different.
Yeah. And some things are glossed over, like when he talks about returning Los Alamos to the Native Americans or whatever.
Yeah, it
And they're like, LOL, no.
It doesn't go into the hundreds of Hispanic and Native American farms that were lost to create Los Alamos either. So,
but I also question how you get all that. Like you get everything that people feel is glossed over. How you get all that in this movie? It's
like I said, there's something
3-hour time.
I understand why they cut.
Yeah,
so.
That's why I say it's like this was a 3-hour and 15-minute movie, and it was cut to 3.
Yeah. So literally, though, the first 2 hours of this movie is just so tense because it's just a countdown.
And by the way, that bomb,
The bomb.
how they filmed it, and the beauty, wonder, horror,
Yeah.
that just
You didn't know how to feel
yeah.
because it was awe-inspiring to see it, but it was devastating. It was like the
Yeah.
Well, you also had like all these scientists taking different approaches on how, like the one guy's like, oh yeah, my car is tinted. I'm gonna be good.
No,
And the
it's
other
fine.
guy's
Stop.
like, I'm gonna wear sunglasses, but sunblock all the crap up on my face. And it's like they're all like, I think this will work. This will probably be okay. And they make it. I like how eventually they make light of it, but at the time, it's a really big deal when they discover like there's a possibility we might ignite the atmosphere and destroy the world.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time we get to like Damon's bit, it's like almost zero. Like that's played for laughs, but it is kind of showing it's like, oh yeah, that was scary.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the beauty of those scenes in this movie is it is played for levity. But it's one of those things that's like when you get so sad or so scared, you're either going to scream and cry or going to laugh.
Well, he called it gallows humor, so
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, he did say in 1 hour, 58 minutes, we'll find out. And the bomb goes off 1 hour and 58 minutes in the film.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
true.
I desperately need to see some breakdowns and some making of videos of the bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because-
I'd actually love to see, because they said there's no fully CGI shots in this film.
Yeah.
And, well, fuck me, the second to last shot of the film is the Earth. And I'm like, so what part of this is physical, guys?
I was going to say, that looks like CGI to me.
Which
but-
is fine. I mean, obviously you can't
A shot like
shoot
that?
a fucking rocket up into space to get a shot of the Earth. That's fine.
Christopher Nolan can do that.
But
Right,
do they
he
shoot
does
like
the
the
rocket.
stars and be like, there,
Mhm.
it's
He has
physical.
it from leftover from Batman.
No, he has it left over from Interstellar.
Yeah.
That's
He
it.
built
I mean,
the
yeah.
rocket.
um,
But also at the I love how it's book ended ultimately. Like you don't really realize it until you're watching it again and again. But I love how it's book ended for Strauss of Oppenheimer told Einstein something that made Einstein not
I
want to look at me.
fucking love
Nolan,
that.
Nolan always just nails his endings. Like,
Ugh.
even if the movie sucks, he fucking nails the endings. And
then
this ending is
that
just
one aide being
a
like, maybe
punch.
it's about something actually important. Because at this point, the aide's like, fuck you, mama, fuck the horse you rode in on. So he goes, maybe Einstein didn't say anything about you. Maybe it was about something more important, actually important.
Yeah.
And when you get that last scene, it's, hey, Albert, remember when we said, you know, we might be creating something that's going to destroy the world? I think we did. And that's it. Wasn't anything
Yeah.
about God, wasn't anything about government, wasn't anything about nothing. It's, I think
Well, I
we
mean,
just-
the way Einstein walks away is, I mean, how we should probably feel about that.
Exactly.
It's devastating to know that. I mean, and then they have those shots of like the world exploding, and
Yeah.
you're like, holy shit. I mean, that's, I don't know, it's the world we live in. It's scary.
It is.
It's
Yep.
ugh. Like, again, and you know that entire sequence is an IMAX, and they show the whole fucking world on a 60-foot tall screen, and you're like, oh my god, the rockets
was-
are like life size.
Like it's kind of like an emotional moment.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
It's crazy. What were you gonna say, Nico?
I don't remember. It was an emotional moment.
Also, that tidbit of, well, there's this one upstart senator.
Okay.
Okay.
No, but
That
I
was
was-
kind of bad. That
My
was
only
kind of bad.
was JFK. I'm like,
John F. Kennedy. They're like the fucking Joker card comes
Yeah,
out.
exactly. It's like this is not that this is building a franchise of movies, but this is the franchise. Like Titans, like we're gonna JFK is
Next
gonna.
one is Cuban Missile Crisis.
Oh, that would be
I would
amazing.
love
if that's
that,
his next movie.
actually. I would love it.
I mean, we already have movies of the Cuban Missile Crisis, but Nolan doing it would be so ridiculous.
Yeah, it would probably be it would be so stressful. It would be so fucking stressful.
But no, and I just can't get over Robert Downey Jr. is my favorite performance of the movie.
100% agree with you. I came
hate
away from that going, holy shit, I couldn't believe it.
Because I just love that whole, he's trying to act like he's as good as these scientists, which is a group that he knows won't accept him because he's not a scientist.
He looks down on intellectuals because he really wants to be one.
Yeah, which is a fascinating and oddly like poignant, like timely kind of thing happening right now.
Yeah,
it is. It's so funny. But before we saw this movie, I saw Robert Downey Jr. on an interview thing, and the person interviewing him said, you are incredible in this movie. People are saying that this is like a milestone performance for you. How do you feel about that? And he looked at the camera and he said, yeah, I'm kind of glad to be done with Iron Man. And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It's like, I enjoyed your performance as Iron Man, but given the choice between these two,
I think that could be definitely read a few ways because, like, one, Iron Man is a seminal performance for him. It is what changed his life in Hollywood.
It's what got his career back together.
But it's also that movie literally changed Hollywood for better or worse. Iron Man changed Hollywood.
For better or worse, Oppenheimer.
I think the feeling that I took from it, and who knows, because he's such a wise ass, you don't really know what he meant. Yeah. But the feeling that I took from it was, okay, like you said, it was a seminal performance for him. It changed his career, brought him back, but it almost became like factory work after 10 years. That's what I feel like.
I mean,
he's like, hey, we're back to doing real stuff again. And I love it. That's what it felt like to me.
But it feels like it's a new act. It feels like him acknowledging is like, yeah, the thing I've been known for the last 15 years is
I feel like he's
like landmark performance. But this is a new act, and it's also that. It's just recognizing that Robert Downey Jr. is awesome.
Yeah, I think he's entering in his era of being cast in really great roles.
I am so glad that Doolittle did not destroy it.
Yeah, same. Yeah, because wow.
He could have gone at, like, after Iron Man, his first movie was Doolittle, and it could have been like, nope, you can only be Iron Man. You cannot do anything else. Doolittle is proof you were
I'm just glad he didn't go crawling back. Because the truth is this: if he was still doing Iron Man, he would not have gotten to do Oppenheimer. No. Because Disney has them locked down, and that's why so many of them left. They're like, we've been doing this 10 years, we've got to move on. And I think that's probably part of it. But I'm glad he's not Iron Man as well, because shit, this was incredible.
An Iron Man story is over. It's done.
Like, if this is the kind of stuff that Robert Downey Jr. is going to start doing,
sign me the fuck up.
Hyped.
Yeah.
Because he was good in this, but he wasn't that Robert Downey Jr. character that he does.
He was an actor. Like, he was not a character. He was a performance. Yeah. And I really hope that, like, it's so easy to pick in this movie who's going to be in the stable of Christopher Nolan actors. Like, you have so many returning people. Like, Cillian Murphy is that. Cillian Murphy has been in
Matt Damon.
He's been in several movies, and now it's like, all right, you're the lead now in this movie. But, like, Kenneth Branagh has basically taken over from Alfred. That actor who plays Alfred.
Michael Caine?
In the Nolan movies.
Oh, in the Nolan movies.
I'm like, we got Sean Pertwee. We got.
Michael Caine.
Wasn't it Michael Caine?
Yeah, it's Michael Caine.
Thank you.
That's what I said. I'm like, you had me thinking I was wrong. I'm like,
I didn't hear the Caine.
Michael Caine has been in almost all of them.
Yep.
Yeah, but he wasn't in this one, and I don't think he was in. He was in Tenet, but I don't think he was in Dunkirk.
Yes, he was.
He was?
I think
he was the pilot's operator, the home base.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right.
He got some voice work.
It's been decreasing roles, as Michael Caine has been in decreasing, like, level of roles, just because he was old. He's old.
He was old.
It's not like he's being pushed out of the stable, but it seems like Kenneth Branagh has kind of started taking over that elder statesman role that Michael Caine has had for the last several, like, couple of decades.
For shit's sake, the man's 90.
Yeah. Not a criticism. I'm just pointing out that Nolan uses a lot of people the same. He has a regular cast of actors that he goes to. And I would love to see RDJ be in that stable the next movie, or maybe lead the next movie. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. I don't know what he's doing next, but that would be cool.
I don't know.
So, what are we rating this movie? Tina, what do you rate this movie?
She had to go rate a diaper.
Oh, shit. Okay.
The diaper is going to be 4 out of 5 stars.
Perfect.
I can tell you, I gave it. I think I might adjust my letterbox. On letterbox, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. You need help? Tina's at 8.5 on a 10-star rating.
So that's 4 point. That's like, what is that?
4.25.
So that'd be 4.5 is a 9.
Yeah, so it's like
so basically 4.25. That's where I would be
4.25.
at. I would say like 8.5. I really enjoyed it. It's not my top movie of the year, but it's definitely up there. And the more I think about it, the more there are just little bits of this movie that just thoroughly enjoy me.
Yep. Zach?
I'm at a 9. I think there is some issues with it. And again, in regards to not having any moments of breathing, sorry, the sex scene is just cringe. I'm sorry. I'd cut that scene. I would cut that first one. Keep the second one where they're talking, and the third one where it's illustrating him being naked. Totally fine with those two.
No, you got to keep that first one. You got to keep the scene where he says, "I have become death, destroyer world."
See, that's the moment I'm like, fuck, I hate that. It's so.
Nolan. Someone told Nolan, "Look, you have to have the line in the movie. That is Oppenheimer's line.
As she puts it in her.
Yeah, and it's like, this is where it's gonna be. This has got to be where I put it in the movie.
because that says to me, it's like the bomb's going off, and he's like, "I'm thinking about sex."
All right.
He is a guy.
During that?
Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of always in the back of my mind.
All right. Well, priorities, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. To me, it when they do put that line in the film at the appropriate moment by having it be associated with that, to me, it almost cheapens it. I don't like it. I would stick to my fucking guns.
Yes. Yeah. He said if he was going to cut anything, it'd be that sex scene.
Sorry.
We had a bomb.
I had an Oppenheimer situation in her pants.
You had your own bomb.
Or here's how you fix it. You have her say, "Read it to me." Cut. And what was he reading? Who knows? But those eagle-eyed viewers will know.
Which would mean I would fucking miss it. Thanks.
It was in fucking Sanskrit.
Yeah. Still.
Can you read that shit?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It just felt awkward.
I don't know. It didn't bother me.
It's a fucking nitpick.
I love that line, but it's in the Barbie font.
I mean, by the way, coming off of Oppenheimer and going into Barbie, man, you want to talk about a fucking fall in terms of quality.
Yeah. So for me, I'm gonna have to go with 9 out of 10. And honestly, it's a 4.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd for me is where I think I want to end up leaving it. And I can't quite place why it's not a 5. That doesn't bother me. That line, it doesn't bother me the way it was executed in the movie. It was fine. I mean, maybe it needs a little breathing space. Maybe that's a thing for me because it is so breakneck. Like a fast movie at 90 minutes is awesome. A fast movie at 3 hours is
an endurance
a lot of work. I feel like I'm just at a point now where I can't place why I'm not giving it a perfect score, but I'm not. I need to watch it again. And
second viewing is better.
I mean, I have no issues. You're saying the second viewing is better. I thought it was amazing the first viewing. I had no issues.
What I'm saying is the second viewing, I was picking up on a lot of the small stuff and going, oh.
Yeah.
I was very much in that mindset of like, I came out of this, like, this movie is technically amazing. Like, every aspect. But there is just something, it's like, it's not my top Nolan film. It's not my top second Nolan film. It's like, there are aspects that are, it's like, it is that breakneck speed. It's like, in some of it could have been trimmed down. Maybe some of it could have been trimmed out and then more breathing room put in. There's a balancing act that I think could have been reached a little bit better, but it's still an amazing movie.
See, for me, this probably is my top Nolan film just because of the subject material. It goes back and forth between Oppenheimer and Dunkirk. So it's like, yeah, on a Saturday it'll be Dunkirk's my favorite. On Monday it'll be Oppenheimer. But yeah, like you said, I can't pinpoint where that other 1.5 points disappeared to. Like, why is it not a 10 for me? Well, I don't know, but it's just not.
You know, as I sit here and think about it, I think what it might be for me, I mean, literally it's just 1 point. I think literally it might be because when you're reviewing something, you review the technical, you review the story, you review the acting, all that stuff. And all that stuff for me is perfect. But then there's also, what did you think? And biopics are not my favorite genre of movie in general. And I think that might be the issue for me. Is it's just, you know, I love it. It's really well done. It's beautiful. It's terrifying. It's got all the things. But on a Saturday night, if I'm going to watch a movie, I don't ever choose a biopic. I never choose it.
Yeah.
I always choose something else. And
It's
that's
like,
probably the only thing.
It's not a library title.
Yeah. If I'm going to watch Oppenheimer, it's because I know how amazing it is and I'm sharing it with someone who hasn't seen it. I don't, like, I'm going to pull Interstellar. I'm going to pull Dark Knight.
I'm going to pull Dunkirk. I did that last night even.
Well, and even Dunkirk for me is a little down the list because I don't like war movies that much, but it's an amazing movie. So that's probably, that. As I sit here, that's probably the issue, you know? And I should note that in my review so that people understand, because literally biopics are not my favorite. Otherwise, it's a fucking perfect movie to me. Everybody's amazing in it. And like you said, Nico, the technical is incredible. There will not be a movie this year that is technically perfect as this movie is. And if you didn't see it in 70 millimeter, I'm sorry. That sucks.
That sucks.
And I'm not saying that to you guys. I'm saying it to anybody who's listening, because he created this movie for that experience. And shit,
it wasn't as well utilized as something like Dunkirk or even Tenet.
I thought it was fucking gorgeous.
No, I'm not denying that. I'm just saying, like, Dunkirk, Tenet, Dark Knight, they had sequences, and outside of the bomb and the speech, it was not really a sequence.
See, but I also like it.
It was used for impact, for sure.
See, I like it when
especially that first fucking shot when it opens up and it's the raindrops and it just fills the fucking screen and you're just like, oh my god.
So I liken it to 3D movies.
Yeah.
I prefer a 3D movie like Hugo that doesn't waggle anything in your screen, not once. It's just there.
Except for that time where Sacha Baron Cohen fucking leans out of the screen right into your face.
You get my point, though. Versus a movie like Friday the 13th where they pass a joint into the fucking screen to waggle it. You know, I like things when you take something like that and it's more subtle in its execution. This, when you needed to see the pain in someone's face, you fucking saw it in this movie. God. You saw it because you were in their face. And he did that really well with Dunkirk also. Yeah. And so that's the kind of stuff that I like. So I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was... I thought it was perfectly used. And then,
Steven,
yeah.
After show, remind me to tell you about a 3D movie that I need you to see in 3D.
Oh God.
Uh-oh. All right.
Oh,
I do still have a 3D TV in the house, so it could happen. So yeah, that I don't know. If it ever makes another run on 70, you guys need to try and see.
I mean, it's been extended.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's roughly 5% of ticket sales is just the 70. IMAX is 15-ish% of the ticket sales. I mean, you try tonight and go to our 70, it's going to be full. I mean, they can't keep the fucking seats empty.
There's people like us. There's a lot of people like us that are...
Shit, we were walking in, there was a guy that drove 3 hours.
Yeah, and we were going to do it if we had to. So there's, I guess, for
this
movie...
There's also people like me and Nico who the only time we can see a 3-hour movie is on the weekend. And we're still behind. We haven't mowed in like 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, you got to like get your tickets a week plus in advance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's you guys have a lot going on, so it's difficult for you guys. But it's shocking to see how many people are caring so much that it's making such an impact on the ticket
I
sales.
mean, I hope this sends a very clear message to like Universal and Warner that say, if you make your fucking movie with IMAX cameras and you fucking ship a print, people will come.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get it for Tenet because of pandemic.
Yeah.
Didn't get it for Nope because they cheaped out.
Yeah.
And we didn't get it for No Time to Die because they cheaped out. I'm sorry, but like it's an event. Even with those films that weren't as good. I mean, the IMAX sequence in No Time to Die was good.
Mm-hmm.
And the IMAX sequences in Nope were spectacular.
Too bad the movie wasn't good.
Yeah, too bad the writing wasn't very good. But everything else.
Oh man.
I'm just saying, if you fucking ship the prints, people will go.
Also, in the filmography of Nolan, I think Tenet is underappreciated. I love that.
I do
movie.
think it is.
I
It
love
does.
that fucking
The
movie.
film completely snaps in half when you start to think about it, though.
Doesn't
I was about
matter.
to say, I have to be in a mood to watch Tenet, and that mood being, if I watch it, will my brain hurt again?
Yeah.
No. The film literally snaps in half because why would they install broken glass with bullet holes in it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It literally doesn't work. But if you could just look past that, you're gonna have fun.
It's Nolan's cotton candy movie.
Yeah.
And the practical special effects in that
Ooh,
movie
they're good.
are top tier. Like no one's done anything better since that movie. The closest thing would be Mission Impossible, probably.
In terms of visual effects.
Practical stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I would go.
I mean, because Mission Impossible literally is like, okay, how much can we do for real?
Yeah.
And just do it.
So I guess at the end of the day, we all agree. Go see Oppenheimer. If you can see it in 70, see it. But just see it, because it's special.
A big screen movie.
It's special.
Even though it's a courtroom drama, it's a big screen movie.
Yeah, it's a courtroom drama,
Which
Imagine if Nolan did an actual courtroom drama.
He does the movie version of Ally McBeal.
Right?
Oh my
Or
God.
a 2-hour episode of SVU.
Yeah.
I
These
bet
are
you
their
have some of the
stories.
best goddamn acting.
Yep.
Oh, by the
Gary
way,
Oldman somewhere.
real quick, Emily Blunt's acting when she like gets pressured and she pushes back in that scene.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
It's so good. It's one of the
So
peak
good.
moments. It's one of the peak moments in the movie.
Yeah, I loved it when he's shaking Teller's hand and then Teller moves to Kitty and Kitty's like, eat shit and die.
Yeah, she's so low-key good in that entire movie. And then she gets her scene, boy, and she
I
fucking
don't like your
nails it.
phrasing. It's like, give it the Oscar.
Give her the
Give it
Oscar.
the Oscar.
Just give it to her right now. All right, let's wrap this thing up. I got to eat dinner.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right. Tina, where are we going to find you on the internet?
You can find me on most major social medias under Cheddar Popper. That is CHEDRPOPPR. And you can go to, what is it, Nico? His link tree. NicholasQualls.com to get all of his social medias. Most of it's under Nico Scream. NIKOSCREAM.
Zachy boy?
You can find me on Instagram, Master of the Matrix 91, as well as on Threads, same username. You can find me on Steam and Discord as a Dangerous Mute Lunatic. I've been playing Lisa the Painful because the remastered edition came out, and boy, that game's fucking good. It's hard as balls, but it's good.
Then I pass.
No, it's hard because it's like, okay, you gotta use your brain.
Oh,
Gotta
okay.
use your brain.
Alright,
We can't just brute force it, idiot. And then I've also been playing Doom 3, unfortunately, the BFG edition, because I'm too lazy to get the original up and going on 1080p.
Okay.
Screw that. But
It's
yeah,
okay.
both
I've been
those
playing
both
Fallout
those fun.
3.
Oh,
Alright.
and you can find me on Letterboxd, Master Z91.
Awesome. So you can find me on Letterboxd, OTS Movies, also on Threads, OTS Movies, Off the Shelf Movies on Instagram, and then of course TikTok, OTS Movies, posting daily over there. Sunday, or actually, I think it goes live on Wednesdays. Actually, you can find me on Movies After Dark. I got asked to be on a podcast talking about movies, so I jumped in on that. And then I'm
Awesome.
about to start. So you need to follow me on the socials because I'm about to start a couple of podcast appearances promoting our seasonal documentary that Zach and I did, Family of Fear, because it's time. It's time for a watch, baby. It's time
Where's
for
my
haunted houses.
copy, motherfucker?
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, it's time to cringe.
No, she's saying that because a couple of people got signed copies for me on.
Yeah, he sends me a TikTok of one of the signed like somebody receiving a signed copy that says "for the inner circle," and I'm like, "You motherfucker, where's my inner circle?" You.
Hey, you don't have 65,000 followers to promote us.
For some reason, the spreadsheet's not working for next film wall, Steven. You might have to keep track of that yourself.
You got one? It's here. It's here. It's right here. Just come get it. All right. So I guess we'll see everybody next week. Y'all have a good week.
Bye, everybody.